What's going on, kings and queens? How you been? In this video, we're going to talk about a strategy that's near and dear to my heart. Right now, just to disclose some information, we're about maybe 3,000, maybe 2,000 in rental income, like just net, which I'm very proud of. We got another 1,000 that we're going to be adding by the next end of October, right? It's August now, so September. Um, we'll say November. By November, we're going to be adding another $1,000 on top of that. So we should be at three. And then for 2019, we're just going to double that, right? So by the end of around the same time in 2019, we're going to be at 6,000 in net rental income. And this is a strategy that without it, I probably would still just be at the one. I'd probably maybe at two properties by now. But by being able to leverage this, I'm able to do flips, get the money up, and then put it into or invest it into a rental, and then go do another flip, take the proceeds, maybe do two flips, and then reinvest it into a rental, then do more flips, then reinvest that into a rental. And that, my friend, is how you rock out with it. But if it wasn't for what I'm about to go over now, I wouldn't be able to do any of that. And why I'm making this video is because so many people recently, I've been doing a lot of consultation. So many people have been asking me questions about this, and the questions that they ask, you can tell right off the bat, like, oh man, this person is way off. Like, this person really doesn't understand what's going on. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to make sure I educate everyone that, is part of the team, so that you're not missing out on opportunities. Because again, I cannot emphasize how crucial this method has been for the development of my portfolio. And I understand it very intimately. And I think that as a real estate investor, if you're banking on cash flow to sustain you, or supplement you, or whatever the case may be, maybe you're not trying to ball out and do 50 properties like I am and make $50,000 a month. Maybe that's not what you're trying to do. Respect. Maybe you're still trying to work a job, or you like what you do. That's perfectly fine. But I think this is a process where you can add one property a year to your portfolio, be able to make an extra $600, $700, $800 a month, and then just grow it. So year one, you got 800. Year two, you got 1,600. Year three, you got 24. And you know what I mean? You just keep building from that. So you might still be working a normal job, but in 5 years, 10 years, you got $8,000 a month. Your portfolio is probably making you more than what you're making at your job. You know what I mean? And maybe you don't want to buy more. Maybe now you come back and say, all right, let me pay some of these off, right? So now you go back and you pay one of them off. Now instead of it making you 800, that joint might jump and now it's making you 13. You know what I mean? You never know. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is a video. I want you to turn off all distractions, put your phone on airplane mode, pen, pad, calculator, let's roll, let's get it. It's what we're talking about. You've probably heard about it before. It's hard. The BRRRR, the BRRRR method, right? And a lot of people have extrapolated the BRRRR method into just like house hacking. Like, it's something you do as a house hacker. You move into something with an FHA conventional mortgage. You fix up the property, wait for the value to go out, then you refinance, and then you move on. You get another property, and you rinse and repeat. But the secret, or probably the highest and best use that I believe for this method, is as an investor. And in this video, we're going to talk about how you marry hard money with a cash out refinance, and how you're able to go from property to property to property and not have more than $4, $5, $10, $15,000 of your money tied up into a property, versus having to buy it for 40 and then having another maybe 60,000 into it. Now you got 100 grand tied into one property. No way. This is a way where you're leveraging yourself and you're moving on. And then at the end, I also want to caution about leverage. So let's get started. Let's dive into it. Let's see what we can get done, and let's take it from there. So first things first, I wanted to Google what hard money is, because that is the first part of this, right? But before I do so, let me just explain how this all works, right? So I see a property, right? It needs work, right? I can't get financing from a normal bank or institution because it's just in such deplorable condition, right? So I buy it, with the hard money, right? Or I renovate it with the hard money. Then once it's renovated, I put a tenant in the property. Because I bought it using hard money, there is no mortgage on the property. On the books, it shows that I own it free and clear, right? I go to a bank and I say, hey bank, I need you to put a mortgage on this property because there is no mortgage. The bank is going to say, hell yeah, right? Because they're in the business of lending houses, of lending money, and they love real estate as an asset that's backed the money that they're lending. So they're going to send out an appraisal to the property, whatever the property appraises for, they'll give you 70%, 75, maybe 65%, 70, 75, 80% of what the property appraises for. So if it appraises for 100,000, 80% of 100,000 is 80,000. So the bank would be willing to write you a check for $80,000 and then put a mortgage on the property for $80,000 that you now have to pay them back over maybe 10, 15, 20, 25 years, right? You take that 80,000, put it in your pocket, and you move on to the next property. From that 80,000, you should pay your mortgage person off at the bare minimum, and that's it. That is the whole kit and caboodle done. Because now you have the hard money guys paid off. You have a property that's fully renovated. You have tenants that are paying, and it has to cover the mortgage, has to cover for expenses, has to give you a cushion. And you got money. You know, you're able to go to the next property. So that's like the world view of it, and I feel like I did a really bad job. So I'm going to try and do better as we go into detail. So first and foremost, what the hell is hard money? Hard money is, and as defined by Wikipedia, a hard money loan is a specific type of asset-based loan financing through which a borrower receives funds secured by real property. Hard money loans are typically issued by private investors or companies. So, I mean, you read that, and it's really no different from a mortgage, right? A mortgage is a type of asset-backed loan financed through which a borrower receives funds secured by property. It's a mortgage, right? I mean, that's a really, I don't like that explanation, so I'm going to give you guys my own. Hard money is, it is financing that's backed by property, because if you don't pay it, they won't take your house. They won't take that house. But what happens is that they're not as stringent as FHA, conventional, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? I've bought houses with hard money guys. We ain't had no roof. I mean, or the staircase collapsed or something like that. These are properties that no one else is going to lend to you. So hard money is the money that someone's going to give to you to take on a property that is in deplorable condition. And it doesn't always have to be in a deplorable condition, but majority of what people are leveraging hard money to do is to get into a property, renovate that property, and then from there, once it's renovated, they go back to secure more long-term processes. So hard money is just the easier Uncle Ray that's going to say, listen, I'll help you get this done, but it's going to cost you. And that's why it's called hard, because it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap at all. It's absorbently more expensive than conventional. You know, interest rates starting at 10, 15, I mean 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15%. You know, you got 3 points on the front end. You know what I mean? It's just expensive money, and we're going to get into it later on. And I think I like what we're going to get into that later on. This looks like an interesting link. I might look into it and post it on the video. But that's what hard money is, and that is why it's needed. It's needed because a lot of times a property is in disarray, needs repairs, and no one's going to touch it on the actual on the conventional side, or these banks or whatever the credit unions. They're not going to touch that property. Now, as a realtor, I do want to disclose with 100% that if you're buying a property to live in, then yes, you can get mortgage products that allow you to roll in the cost of renovations into your mortgage. I know, because I bought my property and I did almost $100,000 in renovations on my place, my apartment building. So there are products out there. NACA is one of them, which I freaking love. You guys know that I am all about that program, and I support it with every fiber in me. NACA is one of them. There are conventional products that have renovations that can be rolled into it. FHA absolutely has two arms that could do it. You have the streamline when it's less than a certain dollar amount, and then the full blown when it's above that dollar amount threshold. So there are at least three products, and FHA counts as maybe two, because it's the streamline and the full blown. So it's actually four products that will allow you to roll repairs into the renovation, but that's only if you're going to live in that thing. And as an investor, you know, you're not going to live into everything you're going to do. At least, listen, I'm not. So this is where the hard money comes into. All right. So next question is, how do you qualify and what is needed? So how do you qualify? You just gotta hit a lot. The only thing I would say is it's not even a, you got to have a certain amount of money in the bank. You got to have the money to carry the deal over. That's all I would say in regards to how you would qualify. Is you just have to have the funds in the bank to take care of what you got to take care of. And what is needed, um, I'm actually going to answer what is needed and what are the item or what are the terms right now. So let's go to this is actually an email that I had back in 2000, June 11th of this year. This is actually a conversation I'm having. Residential Capital Partners. I am not sponsored or anything by them. I'm just showing you guys an email of what they're asking, what is needed. So I need additional statements. Again, qualifications. I gotta have at least 20,000 in the bank. $20,000 in the bank you want to have. I would say F that 20,000, you probably need at least $40,000, right? And I'm going to explain why as we move on to the video. But you want to have money in the bank, right? And a lot of people say, "Oh, little old me, I don't have $20,000." Listen to me. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be all your money, man. I'm very frustrated at the real estate investment community. Why y'all are so stubborn in partnering? If I got 5,000, I'm looking at 20,000 like it's an unattainable goal. Actually, after that 20,000, I'm looking at 40,000 like it's an unattainable goal. Well, my G, if you take 40 divided by 5, that means you got to find 8 other people. And y'all got to find 8 other people, and y'all are good to go. Find 8 other people, pull the money together. I don't trust such and such. Okay, that's cool. You don't have to trust them. Get a lawyer, draft something up, and you roll with it where everyone is in agreement with how everything is going to work. And you only do flips. We're not going to do rentals yet. You do flips. You cash everyone out. And that's it. That way, if someone wants to leave it, I mean, I'm digressing, but I'm really upset. A lot of you guys aren't partnering, and you got to start partnering because a piece of the pie is better than no pie at all. So keep that in mind. But anyways, that's what I was talking about. You need to have a certain cash amount because they need to see that you can not only pay the down payment, closing costs, and whatever portions. They also need to know that you can float the renovations before they cash them out because they do it in draws. I know I did a video before about draws, but I'm also going to touch base with that again later in this video. So stay tuned. Entity information. Now, the name of my company is Philadelphia Investment Property Group. I know that name is badass. I love that name. But they want to see operating agreement, SS4, articles of organization, certificate of existence. And this is all stuff that you should, you know, man, as a business owner, you should have just ready to roll. So for me, financing, for example, right, this is one of my, I got everything. Everything is here that you can, this is how you should be organized. Everything should be here. So if there's ever, you know, for me, all I got to highlight it, boom, there you go. Let me go back and see. I'm in the contract, so that would be here. PIPG, docs. So just everything. That's not really everything. Where's everything? So it's all over. Rent comps, pre-approval letter to seller. But you would just want to have everything. So pre-approval for PIPG. Where's it at? Can't even find my own stuff. All right, well, we'll just look at this one. This one was a this was a better. It's normally in here. I don't know what I did. But this is a better idea of how this is normally how I have it for every LLC that I own. This is what, you know what I mean. This is how you should keep it. It should be very clean. It should be very, very clean. You should have everything ready to roll and all the documents that you need for it. I mean, just without a question, without a shadow of a doubt, this is how it should look, right? And I got mine looking pretty neat. And you want to do this for every LLC. And you don't want to save it on your computer. You want to save it on some type of cloud platform. I had a computer that got fried. It was a thunderstorm, and I had it plugged into the wall, no surge protector, and everything was gone. So now I've learned, and I keep everything in the cloud. Vaults, you know, like encrypted vaults online, secure lock. I mean, there's so many different platforms that are like super high grade and protecting. So I keep a lot of my stuff in there, but this is just kind of what you want to have, you know what I mean? So when it's talking about rambling about everything that you need, You got to have it. So you got to have bank statements that show a certain dollar amount. That's number one. You got to have your operating agreement for your LLC, formation docs, articles of organization, certificate of existence. You want to have all that. And then also, I would add on top of this stuff that you have a title company in place. You want to have the documents for your, if you're using a certain contract, that you want to make sure that you have their insurance, copy of their license, and a W-9. You just want to have all these things ready to roll so that as you get the ball rolling, everything's there. And they're going to ask you questions. Some of them are going to ask you for your credit. So let me shout out to my boy Luke. So here is another one that I'm actually using, and this is another hard money guy. And the question is what they're asking: operating agreement and formation docs for entity purchasing property. You can only buy these properties underneath an entity, which is beautiful because now none of this stuff is going to hit my credit. So when I pull my credit, none of this stuff shows. That's why I'm able to rinse and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. It's beautiful. Operating agreement and formation docs for LLC, credit report for all members, 2 years tax returns, personal financial statements for members of entity purchasing. And this is another one. Again, that just goes into showing that if something goes wrong, you have the dollars to cover it. But again, your bank account should already have that money in there. I wouldn't tell you to pull the trigger if that wasn't there. Consent of spouse to guarantor. I'm not married yet. Playing my cards very closely with my girlfriend. Fingers crossed. Driver's license, contact information for title company you plan on using, agreement to sell. You're probably not going to have that yet. You probably would get this in place first and then add the agreement to sell. I don't recommend you do it backwards. So that's pretty much it. These are what you're going to need as far as like documents and as long as you have this, then you qualify. It's not a matter of if you qualify or will you qualify. You are absolutely going to qualify 100% so long as you have the docs and the minimum required funds in the bank. Doesn't matter if you've never done a flip in your life. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because as long as the deal makes sense, they're going to pull the trigger. And we're going to talk about the deal extensively as we move forward in this video. So now let's talk about the terms. This is another one. So no money down, fix and flip loans. No money down, 100% fund. I mean, it's very misleading. I'll talk about that. So here are some of the terms that they're talking about. I'm assuming you guys are all new investors, so we're just going to focus on new investors. So 65% of ARV investors that have rehab less than 10%. That's what less than 10 properties. That's what they qualify as a noob. Interest rate is 10%, which is actually not bad. Points is 3%. Pretty straightforward. You can roll the points into your mortgage. That's very helpful. Loan term is 9 months, which is pretty much like the industry norm right now. 9 months, 12 months. And then, it's 9 months, and then they might charge you an extension. Extensions are typically a point, and I think it's like another 3-month window, so they do that. Prepayment penalties, no. I will not work with any type of company that's going to charge me a prepayment penalty. Prepayment penalty means, let's say let's say I buy a house. I'm going to settlement on the 7th, right, which is in 2 weeks, right? Let's say I win the lottery on the 14th, and I want to pay off the hard money guy. If there's a prepayment penalty, that means they want me to make my monthly payments for 9 months before I can pay it off. Or even if I don't pay it off, I still got to pay my 9 months, which I think is BS. So what I like now is a lot of people have shifted gears and there's no prepayment penalties. So I think that's great. So that's pretty much it. Those are the terms, and it is what it is. What I do want to say is a lot of them are going to be interest-only payments. And that's only time where it starts to differentiate. Some people say that they want the payments on a monthly basis. They want the payments on a monthly basis. And other companies might say, well, we want the payments at the end. Well, we want it all at the end. When you pay everything off, we want it all lumped into the end, and we'll take it from there, right? Meaning, like, let's say you borrow $100,000 and you have a 12% interest rate. That's 1%. So $1,000 is what you're paying every month, and you're holding that money for 4 months, so it's $4,000. So if you borrowed $100,000, instead of you making those $1,000 payments every month, they would just say, hey, when you go to pay off the loan, roll the cost of the interest into the loan when you pay it off. So at month 4, I wouldn't make any during the months. I wouldn't make any payments for my monthly. I mean, on interest. But when I go to pay it out, instead of paying 100,000, I would pay 104 or 105, whatever, however that works. So that's about it. Oops, go back to the slide. So that's about it. That's how it works. Cash out refinance. How does the cash out refinance work? So the cash out refinance is a separate part of the journey that you're going through. Once the property is renovated, you now have to seek permanent financing because hard money is expensive as hell. So you would go to a credit union or whatever the case may be and get some type of commercial product where they'll give you 80% of the value of the property that you have, right? I don't recommend you do a HELOC. I don't recommend you do any of these things. Well, actually, no, I'll take that back. If it works, some of these HELOCs are 15, 20-year HELOCs or home equity lines of credit. So if you, and they might, if they lend you up to 70% on an investment property that's owned by an LLC, then not sure. But to my understanding, a lot of these properties, if they're underneath the name of the LLC, it now has become the commercial product. So you can find a commercial product where they're giving you they're giving you 60%, 65, 70, 75% of the value of the house, and you take that and you run with it. You know what I mean? I think I made some mistakes on these notes. So the front money one, I don't remember. I think I made some mistakes on that one. So pardon me, my bad. But real quick, let's just kind of get into the numbers and tie everything. To kind of tie everything together. So this is a little spreadsheet that y'all know I love my spreadsheets. Shout out to Google Sheets. Google Docs. So this is a little spreadsheet that I made, and I kind of want to walk you guys through it so everyone has a very clear understanding of what we're doing and how we're doing it. This is marrying everything together. I'm going into a property. The way I'm able to finance it is with hard money. Hard money is taking. Okay, so real quick, let's go back, right? So and I'm sorry for jumping around, but I wanted to talk about why I felt like the 100% funding is a little bit of a misleading marketing scheme, right? And the reason why is because they cap it. They cap it to a certain point, right? So for my guy that I'm borrowing from now, I'm capped at 65% of ARV, right? It's 90% of the purchase price and 100% of the renovations. So I'm stuck at anything above and beyond that, right? So pretty much the way to look at it is once your numbers go above 65% of ARV, that's all they're going to lend to. So I just run my numbers based off 65% of ARV because everything else is just going to fall into place afterwards. So with that being said, now we can just kind of talk about the numbers because this is one of the most important things here. So let me just zero everything out. Zero everything out. Now we start. Boom. All right, so now everything is zeroed out. I love spreadsheets because I built this and I like how everything is like moving as I remove and add. It's fantastic. I think everyone should get into spreadsheets. So right now I'm doing a project, right? I am actually going to settlement on the September 7th. So we're gonna do this based on the numbers that I had for my project, and y'all can see not just some type of made-up property, but this is actually a property that I'm using. That this is actually something that's happening to me as we speak, right? So my purchase price for my property is 80,000. I'm buying it for 80,000. My lender, my hard money guy, is 65% of ARV, and I'm with Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, and they're going to give me 80% of the ARV, right? I'm buying this thing for 80,000. I'm putting in maybe $45,000 in renovations, right? ARV is the after repair value. We had an appraisal. The home inspector, the hard money guy is gonna demand that you get an appraiser. So I think I paid maybe four. I got an appraisal, and you can. It's only gonna be an after repairs, what it's worth after repairs are done type of appraisal. But for negotiation regions with the seller, I also like to get an as is appraisal, right? As is going out to see, well, what the hell is this property worth right now in its current position? And then the subject to or the after repair value is saying, well, after we do these renovations, what will it then be worth, right? So that's the difference between ARV and the as-is appraisal. So I'm buying it for 80,000. 45 is my renovation amount. The points that this company has charged me is at 3%. So it's not this company, but you can see that they also charge 3%, and the way it works is points is a percentage. So it's a percentage on not just the purchase price, not just the renovations, but these two numbers added together. So in this situation, if we're doing 125 times 0.3, it would be $3,750, right? But they're not going to lend me up to that much. They're only going to lend me up to 65% of ARV. So it's really just 3% of what the max loan amount that they're going to give me. It's the total loan amount, not just of the purchase price. Because I was thinking that, and I learned that it's not true. So after repair value came in at 180. So we put that there. And this automatically calculates everything for me. So it calculates, if you take 180 and you multiply it by 65, it'll give you 111, 117. If you do it by 85, you'll get 144. So now the goal of everything I'm doing here is everything that I'm doing, my goal is to try to keep it at least 135, 140, right? And then the 4 grand is just cushioning for, like, expenses when you do the cash out. There are fees for doing the cash out. So anyways, this is what it looks like right now, right? Total number for this one, it's adding purchase price, renovations, the points I have to pay, and then we're estimating maybe $5,000 in closing costs. So my all-in number on something like this, and you always want to hedge yourself, so I would probably do maybe $50,000 in renovations. You know what I mean? I would probably do $50,000 in renovations just to be on the safe side. Give myself a $5,000 cushion. Probably can do 55, something, just be safe, something like that. So I probably do 55, be safe on the renovations. Now I got a $10,000 cushion on renovations. So if something goes wrong, we're all in good grace, and doesn't kill me, right? So now that brings my total to 144,450. Cash to close that I have to bring at settlement is 27,450. Now, how are we getting that number? Well, we're getting that number because we're taking the 65% max that the hard money guy is willing to lend me. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Man, no, I can't. Make sure you guys can read it. There you go. We're 65% of the hard money, so 117 is the max dollar amount that the hard money guy is willing to lend me. So this number, the cash that I need to bring to closing, $27,450, that is money that I would need to bring to the table in order to, at settlement, when I'm buying the house, I'm with the title company, and the seller is handing me the keys, I'm going to need $27,450 to pull this off. Because, and the hard money guy is lending me the difference. They're lending me the 117. You know what I mean? So that's going to go towards buying a house, and then it's going to go towards having the cushion left over to handle renovations, which we're going to do on a draw. So if you remember, when we were going over what was required, one of these only said that you needed 20,000, and I was saying, well, that I poo-pooed at 20,000. It should be more like 40,000. Here's one of the reasons why. I'm already at $27,000, 20, just to buy the property, right? This is money coming out of my pocket just to buy the property. And I still have to cover renovations, right? Renovations are going to be done in phases. So you always have to be able to foot the bill for phase 1. That is your responsibility. You need to find a way to work with your contractors and get phase 1 done for as little money out of pocket as possible. But sometimes it's inevitable, and you just got to do what you got to do to work with the contractors that you have. But anyways, you just want to have money in the bank. So my number is $30,000, $40,000. I always try to start the deal with at least $30,000 to $40,000. 35 is like the sweet spot. So here is my all-in number at settlement, right? And again, that's taking purchase price, taking renovations, taking the points, and taking the closing costs, right? The interest rate that this hard money guy charges me is 12%. 12% is a really easy number because all you do is you take the loan amount and you understand that you're paying 1% of the loan amount every month. So for me, right, if I have 144,450, then that means that I would pay 14,444 every month, right? So 144,450 times 0.01%. This is my monthly payment on the mortgage, on just on the interest. Now y'all understand why it's hard money. That's a lot of goddamn mother effing money, right? That is a lot of money. That's a lot. It is just a lot. And I still got I still got a whole renovation project to take on. I still have to foot the bill to pay for whatever they got to pay for until we get a draw from the hard money guy. This is why I think it's disgusting to even have 20 grand as all that you're going to need. You want to really be cash heavy so that you're able to bite the bullet and stuff like that. So that's why over here, I have it set up to factor in, well, how much do I need to budget for or put aside for the interest on this property? Typically, I'm holding it for 5 months. 5 months is saying that it's going to take me 2 months to renovate the property, maybe another 2 months to put a tenant in there. All right, I do, and it doesn't, not that it's going to take that long to find a tenant, but all my properties are with PHA or Section 8, and that process can be a little bit daunting, so that's why I have the 2 months down there. And then another month to just finish the cash out refinance. Typically, I'm always done in 4 months, but you just want to give yourself that extra cushion in case something goes wrong, right? Renovations should be done in 30 days. Probably will take me a month to find a tenant, and it'll probably take me a month to, go through the PHA program. But you want to extrapolate that. I kind of gave myself 2 months of extra time just to be on the safe side, right? So far, all the numbers are in place. We got a purchase price, we got a renovation budget, we know how much we're paying in points, we have an estimate of the closing costs, we know what the interest rates are, we have an estimate of how long we're holding it, and then we have an estimate of what those holding costs are going to be. I mean, things are moving relatively good, right? I know how much money I need to bring to settlement, and I also know how much cash I'm going to be out of pocket total. This dollar amount takes the closing costs that we're bringing and then adds in the cost of the interest for the life of the project. So overall, for this project, I should be out of pocket total $33,300, right? And a lot of people are saying, oh, but Ugo, don't you have to pay for materials? I do have to pay for materials, but that gets reimbursed to me when we do a draw. So it's not money that I'm out of. It's just money. It's what I call floating money. I'm just floating my contractors until they get the draw. And then it goes to the cash out number. So this cash out number is saying, all right, well, you are in a tough situation because you have 144, right? And the thing that they don't tell you is that when you go to cash out, there are also closing costs associated with your cash out. So we're going to be paying another 5,400, and that's why even though this is 14, 15, this is 14. Even though this is a 14, even though I'm cashing out 1,400, I got to factor in closing costs. So when I look into, when I look into this number, it's taking the total cost the total 80% of the ARV, and it's subtracting the cost of the property plus the closing costs, and then also adding in the cost of holding the property. So that's what the difference is, right? All right, so that means that for this property, I'm gonna be out of pocket when everything is said and done, and everything is closed out. I'm gonna be out of this property for about $12,000, right? And people are like, oh, well, is that good? Is that bad? Well, it depends, right? So I buy my properties for cash flow. This is not a flip, right? Because clearly the numbers don't work for a flip, right? There's not enough room for a flip. In fact, I would be, well, I mean, it might be, right? Because I could sell this for 140 and I'd be all in at 144. In essence, there should be a $40,000 or $36,000 profit margin. I think that's even a little bit too low. I don't even, anyways. But right now, I'm buying this as a rental property. So the first one is a 2-bedroom. It's in an area that I already have four other places, right? 4 other rentals. So 923 is what I'm getting for a 2-bedroom out that way now, right? The first floor is a 2-bedroom. Second unit is a losing my mind, is a 1-bedroom, right? Can be completely renovated. So we're gonna do 77 on that one, and then we have a studio, which I'm pretty sure we get 667, right? So rent should be the total rent that I'm going to be getting on this property is $23.73. Ain't too bad, right? but we got to take away from that. So mortgage on 144. Let's go and look at the mortgage calculator. So mortgage is going to be 144, right? Because we're doing that. Down payment is 0. Term is probably going to be 20 years. Interest rate 5.75. Property taxes probably like maybe 1,200. Property insurance, keep it at 15. PMI is 0. And first payment is probably going to be December. I think we said November. Probably November. Where we calculate that at 1236. That seems a little bit high for me. Maybe property insurance doesn't have to be that high. Let's calculate that. We got 1211. So we're just going to go in here and for mortgage we'll put 1211. And then, cushion, just, random, whatever. So on this project, I'm going to be making 824. Let's call it 800. On this project, I stand to make $800 a month, right? But that's not my money yet because we still in the red, right? So 824. The way I look at it, it's going to take me a year and 2 months before I actually can look at the property and say it's profitable. People might be like, oh my God, I need that money now. Like, I can't wait. And this ain't the game for you. I mean, real estate is not something where you're gonna get rich overnight. This is something where you get rich over time. Should be a slogan. Should be a caption. But this isn't. You got to think about, well, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? And the alternative is you just get a job and you work it, or you start a business, or you do something like that. This is something where even if you pick a property every year, you do this year number 2, and then you do it year number 3, and then you do it year number 4. You know what I mean? That before you know it, in 5 years, you got something really nice. You got something that ain't too bad. You know what I mean? And keep in mind that my actual renovation budget is only 45. It's only 45, right? It's only 45. I'm hedging myself, right? So this project it should do really well, right? But in the event that it doesn't, I still cash flow, which is number one. We always cash flow. We don't do anything else but cash flow. And number two, even if the project goes bad, that just means that I just have to delay the gratification. And I think a year, 6 months, a year, whatever the case may be. Let's say I end up at 55. I mean, 50,000, right? It's too many zeros. Now it's going to be 7 months before I get all my money back, and then anything after that is cash flow. That's a great deal. That's a great deal. That's a great deal. You know what I mean? In fact, I got $100 cushion, which I, probably don't even need to have there. And then, you got the CapEx, right? And people are like, oh, well, why don't you factor for vacancy? Well, yeah, and that's more so where the cushion's coming from. Cushion is probably going to be for vacancy. When you're with PHA, vacancies tend to be relatively low because it's a 2-year contract. They renew it. If one person renews just one time, I got 4 years of beautiful rent roll. You know what I mean? So in 4 years, I mean, man, I would have made a massive dent in this in the mortgage payment of this one. So we do 824 times 12 times 4, $39,000. So I would have paid off. I would have paid off almost 30% of the mortgage in 4 years, right? That means that means that I should be able to get this joint paid off in about 12 years. And it's so crazy talking about these random years, but I'm telling y'all, the time is gonna fly regardless. I just had my 10-year high school anniversary, and I don't feel that much older. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that people don't understand. This is a property where from date is gonna cash flow. It's gonna have all new everything. So the likelihood that I'm gonna need repairs is gonna be low. So this is a property where I know that I'm gonna be able to clear at minimum $800 a month, right? And again, I'm managing my renovations. Renovations, the goal is to be at 45, right? However, you just want to give yourself that cushion. So at 50 is not too bad. That means I just got to pay off, you know, to pay myself back. I got $16,000. I mean, 60. I got call it $6,200 that I have stuck in a deal, right? And the thing is, if I don't want that money, then that's cool. We rocking from day one, and we just want to keep that money in there, right? So that's how all of this works. We bought the property with the hard money. We did the renovations with the hard money. They only let me up to a certain dollar amount, which is 65% of the ARV. Everything above and beyond that, including closing costs, interest costs, I have to take care of. Um, and then once the renovation is done, we go and we look for tenants. What I do now is as the renovation gets like maybe 70% complete, or at least the kitchen is complete, listen, I'm bringing people in to take a look at that from day one. Let's start rolling to get that ball rolling and taking it from there. So once we get it rented, we got leases in hand. We take those leases, we go down to my good friends at Philadelphia Credit Union or whoever the hell you're using. Let them know, like, hey, my LLC, my company owns a property that's completely has tenants in it. There's no liens. I mean, it's no liens, no mortgages, no anything on it. I would like to put a mortgage on it. What can you guys help me do? How can we do this? Oh. On the commercial end, you know what I mean? And then they'll give you a 10, 15, 20-year mortgage, whatever the case may be. They'll give you 80% of what the property appraises for, and you just got to take it from there, right? So that's it. You know what I mean? They come out, they appraise the property, whatever it appraises for, they'll give you 80% of that. You take that, you pay off your hard money, and that's it, right? In this situation, I put, you know, it's not enough to pay me back 100%. I'm leaving $6,200 on the table, and I'm perfectly fine with leaving that money on the table, because if all I have to do is pay $6,200 to get in essence, I'm paying $6,200 to get a property that's renovated and makes $800 a month. The returns are ridiculous. So if we take 824.70 times 12, right, and we divide that over what I put into it, which is 650, the returns are ridiculous. It don't make no sense. Even if the renovations came out to be 60,000. It don't even matter. It literally doesn't matter to me, because I break even in 2 years. In 2 years, I get my money back. In 2 years, I get my money back 100%, and I'm still able to collect the rent and keep the ball rolling. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. So that's how it works, and this is a system where, you know, I keep rolling. I keep rolling. I keep rolling. I keep rolling. I buy one property. We get into it, renovate it, put the tenants in it, cash out on it, which is what we're doing with the bank, and then we move on to the next one. And that's it. And what I would tell people to do is don't do rental. You want to do rental. Maybe not start with a rental. You want to do flip one, flip two, then you do a rental. Flip one, flip two, and then you do a rental. Or if you're just starting out, you do flip, you do a rental. And then maybe there's a gap where you kind of get everything in order. You can have a flip, and do a rental. Then there's a gap where you take your time to get everything in order. Then you flip, and you do a rental, right? And that flip, rental, you can get that done in like 1 year. In 1 year, you can add 3 properties to your portfolio, and they should all be making something real nice. They should all be making something real nice. I really don't touch a property if I'm not going to make more than $700 a month. I mean, sometimes I don't touch it unless it's $1,000 a month, because the headache got to be made worth it. Sometimes I won't touch anything unless I see the ability to make 1,000 plus on it. If not, then no dice. But this is a property. I'll be on. Wow, sorry, but you know, this is just, and this is one of many. You know what I mean? There's so many deals that are out there to be had. Don't tell me that there aren't any deals. Go out there and get it. You know what I mean? And take it from there. And this is the method that I really hope that as you're watching this video, you took notes. If you have questions, listen to me. Book a consulting call with me. A sit down. Get it done. You know, you get an hour of my time, and we just kind of take it from there and make sure you understand everything in detail, because I don't want you guys to miss out on the opportunity. There's so much, especially if you're in the Philly area, there's so much opportunity. This Philly is supposedly supposed to be hot. I'm still able to pull out a deal like this that's going to make me $800 a month and rock out. The reason Philly is hot is because the back in, you know, maybe 2 years ago, I probably could have picked the same property up for 60. Look at my numbers. I walk away with money. You know what I mean? I would walk away with money. You know, and then also, you know, my renovation budget, it ain't even with me. So sometimes I walk away with money. You know, so that it was a lot sweeter back in the day, right? Because now this is the best case scenario. I'm walking away with 16,000, right? Because purchase price, renovations, and everything did not are a lot lower than the 80% ARV. But then again, same token, it would be worth less. The ARV would be worth less. So I'm not gonna lie. So now in this situation, not only did I get all the money that I put into the property back, I also got um I also walked out. I came up 8,000. I came up 8,000, and that's perfectly fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Came up 8,000, and I got the property finished, completely renovated. So yeah, back in the days, I mean, it was fantastic. But real estate is cyclical. A crash is going to happen, and things are gonna prices of value of property is gonna drop or something like that. Not to the extent that what has happened before, but to the extent where we see a peak, a decline from what we're seeing now, right? And with that being said, I also wanted to segue into what I was talking about how you don't want to be super leveraged, right? And the reason why is because the Philly market is hot right now. So you just want to hedge yourself, if possible, and understand that you don't have to take that full 80% out, right? You can leave that money in there, and maybe instead of taking 80% out, you only take 70%. You know, and you leave a good 30%. You leave a much better cushion for yourself. In the event that something happens and you have to sell, that's something that you would need to think about. Now, do I care? Hell no. I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap what the house is worth. All I care about is the monthly payments. I mean, the monthly rent, the gross rent. I don't even care about what the house is worth. I don't care what's going on in the market. All I need to know is what am I making every single month. That's it. But I wouldn't be a good person if I didn't tell you about that conundrum that a lot of people are going to face. Man, I'm yawning. It's 10 in the morning and I'm still yawning. I'm very disappointed in myself. Oh my God. But anyways, that's pretty much it. You know, this is probably one of the longer videos, and I really just want to, I really just hope that everyone has gotten a good understanding of what's going on. I apologize profusely for all my yawnings, um, but this is just information that I think you just want to master it. You want to make sure that you have this thing locked down and padded, and that's just what I want you to take away from this video. Take away from this video that you don't have to be this super duper, oh, I didn't flip a million houses, real estate person to get funding. You know, take away the concept that you don't have to be the one that has all the money in the bank. You can partner with people, you can group with people, you can partner with me. Throw me some money, we can go do deals like this. You know, I'm not always happy I got to bring $30,000 out of pocket. And it'd be nice to split that up amongst maybe 2 or 3 people and take it from there. And then I just catch you guys out. You know, so it's always things that can be done. And you know, I just hope that this video gives you a very important tool, not the only tool, but it gives you a very important tool in regards to how you're going to maneuver your real estate, you know, how you're going to maneuver around building up a real estate empire. So that's it. That's all I got. Any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to let me know. Give me feedback. What are some other videos you guys want to see? Big shout out to everyone that's booked the consultation with me. I think it's dope. You guys have really high ambitions. But one of the reasons I wanted to make this video is because a lot of you guys are asking questions, and as I would try to answer them, I would see like the deer in the headlights thing, and I'm like, crap, I lost them, so far gone. So this video is an attempt to just kind of educate on how you can get a hard money, buy the property, do the renovations, and once the renovations are done, rent it out, and then go to a bank and get money to pay off the hard money and keep the property because you're leveraging a less expensive mortgage, and you have a long-term solution to that property. And then just kind of take it from there. So anyways, that's enough about me. Again, one more time, my name is Ugo Opara, PA licensed real estate agent and investor based out of Philadelphia. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time.